What's up, bro?
What's going on, Paul? Oh, you're switching sides.
Well, I can't be
Why does
you.
that,
I
why
wish I
does that
could have been
happen all
you
the
because you
time?
were hanging out at NAB and getting to hang out with all the cool people this past weekend. My
It's
goodness.
it's it's been a long week, Paul. It's been a
I know
long
you're
week.
probably exhausted, just like our guest
I
will be tonight because he's, well,
yeah. I walked about 32.1 miles this week.
wow.
So and I really didn't walk in Vegas anymore. It's all convention center. So
Crazy.
fun week. Yeah, we got a lot more people watching the show than we think, Paul. I think I got a lot of people giving me thumbs up on the creator camp, which is awesome, guys. Thanks so much for all the awesome words this week. So. But yeah,
Yeah.
we have Paul, as you know, we're Creator Camp. We're in the U.S. We've been international because we've had Chris Brockhurst on the show.
That's right.
He's from Canada. But tonight we're going worldwide.
Worldwide?
Worldwide, Paul.
Oh, that's right. We are going worldwide tonight.
Yep.
All right.
Global, Paul. This is the WWW.
Well, what does it mean?
Yeah. I don't know. But you know what? I think we need to stand up and salute this guest here.
Oh,
might have to hit the button. I'm not sure if you guys salute there, but we're saluting here. So
that was amazing. I love that intro. Good morning.
Yeah, it's,
2:30 in the morning there.
2:30 over there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
yeah,
we gave you the option to do like a Saturday afternoon, but I mean,
this is dedication right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is what we do for Creator Camp. It's an honor to be in the same little part of the screen as some other big creators. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Hey,
yeah,
pleasure. I've been following you for a while there. You keep having your moments where you're falling off and coming back and falling off, coming back, and it's a hard. YouTube is a hard thing to keep up with for sure. People don't realize the amount of work that it gets to put in there.
It's really hard to keep up that consistency. It really is.
Yeah.
And I also don't really know what I'm doing, to be quite honest with you. Like, I started the channel for one particular reason. I was like, I'm going to make camera reviews and just dump all my stuff that I do when I go on holiday and everything. And then it's like, do I do tech? And then I went into tech and phones and stuff and got loads of subscribers. And I was like, do I really enjoy this? And it's a bit all over the place. And I've just watched your latest video, Paul. And at the end, you said subscribe for, I don't really know. I'm all over the place at the moment. And that's exactly how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I'm all over the place right now. I'm kind of trying to stay in more of the Sony niche, but I have all these ideas and some things that I have left over that I'm in like trying to finish up and really get focused on pumping out Sony content just because I don't know. I think it's more interesting and I can keep it going and trying to really niche down into something. So I don't know. And I might do Sony cameras for a little bit and then jump off something else, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the niche is the thing. I think that's the thing that I'm missing. It'd be, when you just want to sort of review as much as you can and do as much as you can and have a good bit of variety on your channel to keep it interesting to make, to be honest with you. But there's one thing I found is the videos I enjoy the most are the ones that don't get the views, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty typical, I feel like.
It seems to happen.
I mentioned it for a second right before we started, but like I have a video that's going to be coming out soon that really isn't like a practical review video by any means, because I'm comparing like a 1960s camera versus a modern camera, and it's all just kind of, I mean, whatever. You'll see the video at some point, but like I know it's going to be a fun project to make. Probably not going to get the search volume or anything like that. So, or if it does get search volume, it's going to be from a completely wrong reason. But
I mean, I'm hopeful that it just magically all of a sudden blows up for whatever.
You never know. Yeah.
It's a cool video
Yeah, it's
to
weird.
watch.
It's weird which
It'd be cool.
videos grow on your channel. Like so your channel, you got a lot of like gimbal and like Osmo action kind of stuff, and you got some like little like travel film things that are little like 2-minute clips and
Yeah, so I kind of like tucking into that niche of like small cameras and little, because we obviously I'm a wedding videographer and I use like Sony's for
yep.
work, and so when I'm out and about, I just don't really like taking my big Sony with me. I
Mm-hmm.
say big, it's A7S3, it's not that big, but you know what I mean. It's it feels like work. You get it out and you're instantly like, oh, you're in work mode or YouTube mode or wedding
Yeah.
mode or whatever. So I love the idea of like when the Osmo Pocket came out, that just changed the game for me in terms of like my mentality. I was like, you know what? You can go out and film stuff and you don't need to take, all of that stuff with you. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, maybe if I was a full-time YouTuber, I might do that. But when it's like,
Right.
we have limited time to travel. So when we're traveling, I don't really want to take that stuff with me. Which
I
is
mean,
why I'm just
I
investing
know
in the
how you
ZV-1s
feel.
now.
I just carried around like a 30-pound backpack around NAB for like all 4 days straight. So, yeah, it's especially day one where I had all my clothes and everything in said backpack because I couldn't like drop it off. So, no, the other thing too, though, with that is that like, like my channel hits really big with a lot of the like point and shoot ZV-1 people. So I think there's a lot more people out there wanting to learn camera stuff, and they're starting out on Osmo Actions and ZV-1s and Canon
Oh, yeah.
M50s and stuff like that. So like there's a huge like need for that niche that does
And
really well.
it's
And then
beyond
I
the
do my like
creator perspective as well. It's
yeah, and I
beyond
do like
creators. You've got other people involved as well. Like you say, like I remember you mentioning makeup artists and stuff like that. When you're doing videos
mhm,
on smaller cameras like that, you're not just targeting,
yep.
the camera enthusiasts at that point.
Well, I just like I know like who I am and I follow like Matty Apoya and all those stuff. And
Mm.
you're just like when I get to a point where my channel's starting to grow, like clearly it's gonna just be a bunch of people like me following my channel. And then when you start looking at all the subscribers that you're getting, you're like, this is really strange. I'm getting all these like lifestyle and makeup people. And I mean, it's great. Like, I'm not going to complain about having like a higher women percentage on my channel. That's awesome. Like, that's a
Mm.
hard thing to do in a
Very hard.
like tech camera niche.
Definitely.
Because it's like some people just don't care about gear. They just want to turn it on and know how to use it a little bit. So,
Yeah, I
not to say
saw
that it's, yep,
an
go ahead.
MKBHD podcast, and I think he was
Mhm.
talking about that, like how no tech channels have over 10% like female audiences.
Yeah. So, well, some might, but it depends on the person and the channel, I suppose, too. So, like, I'd be
Yeah,
curious to
exactly.
see what some stuff like iJustine's is, and like if she's got, or I mean, hers could be all male for all I know too, but you never know. Me
Yeah,
and Terry were actually talking about this in Vegas about how I think we briefed on it on last week's channel, but our last week's episode about like he hung out with like Manny Ortiz all week, who's like a photographer, gear reviewer, and stuff like that, and
yeah.
we were kind of wondering, like, I wonder how many he has, like a female base, because like he does a lot of like portrait photography, which is really big with like wedding photographers, and there's a lot of women in wedding photographers. He gets a lot of like models and like portrait stuff, and plus he's just like a good looking dude. So I imagine like he might actually have a high percentage of like women who watch and subscribe to that channel. So be kind of intriguing. I never got the answer because Manny wasn't there at the time, but we still kind of want to know that one. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've always thought about doing like wedding stuff, tutorials and stuff on the channel, but then you pushing all kinds of
Yep.
things. And I know Terry was talking about just be you, just post everything. But when you're just like, if you've got everything in, it's like, some of it's
Yeah,
going to
it's
get views, some of it's not. It's like with the phone reviews. I posted a Galaxy S20 review because it was COVID hit. There's nothing going on, and I
mhm,
was like, do you know what? I've always wanted to review phones, so I just whacked that out there. Tons of subscribers from it, but then like that
mhm.
kind of it got me over the monetization threshold, so I was making the big piece. But no, um, but then you had that. The next video came out, and none of the subscribers were watching it because it wasn't about phones, and then that kind of
Yep.
it's a rolling
So
effect. So,
to back that up for a second, the big P's, what's
oh, money,
okay. What's the
money.
pounds. Okay, that's right. I was like, what? What's the P's again? Okay. Sorry, I had
Yeah,
to. Well, so we do have an idea too that we might change. We might add another game show to this channel, which is maybe more like, conveniently ripped off a little bit from Price is Right. And I was like, well, what happens if we get like people from Canada or like UK they're gonna be screwed on this channel. Or if like Peter from Sweden or something like that, like
Right.
prices are so much more expensive there. So we'll kind of see where that's gonna go with another
I think
segment
it's a
that
good
we can
shout.
add
I
in. So
mean, even like British YouTubers, we have to do stuff in dollars because I don't know, it just relates to more people. Like 25% of
yeah.
audience
I think there's
from
a
the
huge
States.
audience as a USA. I mean, I know
Yeah.
like when you watch all the Canadian ones, like a lot of them will say miles per hour, or like if they're talking about cars, and like they'll talk about like money, and then they'll say US like Canadian afterwards. It's just
Oh,
like
okay.
clearly
Yeah.
they know their market, because they're, you think I would say like, oh, it's Canadian dollars and it's this in US, money, but what are
Yeah,
we
no, that
at?
makes
Phantom
sense. When
Flight.
you talk about like Fahrenheit earlier, I didn't know like that
Oh
sort of
yeah.
we did stuff in Celsius, and I'm like, what is that? What is 63? Trying to work it out.
Well, I remember when like Chris Brockhurst would be like, "Oh man, I can't believe it's whatever negative something Celsius," and I'm like, "What is?" Okay, before you can complain, let me see, because I live in Minnesota. Yeah, what's up, Chris? It's colder over here. Screw you. Like, but I have to like do the conversion first, and like, and then but then I forget sometimes to say like, "Oh yeah, but it was -20 here," and I'm like, "Wait, what does that make? What is he going to first think of when I say that? Like, is that really cold,
Yeah,
or is that
negative
not as
22
cold?"
is just yeah. I don't even know
Yeah,
if you could
I
go
mean,
out
it's
in it.
-20 Fahrenheit's also just ridiculous too. So
Yeah.
once you get below that, what, zero? Well, I don't know. I don't know how that works. That conversion's weird. So, but
Well, I know that like the British typically talk about the weather, but like it's gone that way. This conversation, it's typical. As the
well, I
thing
mean,
about us, we just complain about the weather no matter what.
there's not much to talk about in weather though in UK.
It's rain.
It's always cloudy and rainy, and
That's
I mean,
exactly
which is
yeah.
great for photography. You can get some pretty awesome shots and get some cool reflections of street stuff. And do you
Yeah.
ever
Sort of
do
had a
any like?
nice month in September, but other than that, it's yeah, it is a bit like that. Everyone books their weddings in August 'cause that's when we have like school holidays and stuff.
Okay.
And it always rains that month, always. We've
Hmm.
had our most rainy weddings in August, and you think you're going to get like amazing light, amazing sunset. The venues charge loads of money, and then yeah, people end up having their rainy weddings.
Do you own a drone?
Yeah, yeah, I've got the Mini 2.
The
Yeah,
Mini too. All right.
so I had the Air 2, and that's when I had like a proper sort of license in a way. You had to renew the license every year, and then I bought the Mini 2 just so I could stop renewing the license. To be honest, like there's a
Hmm.
lot less restrictions around it, a lot more things you can do, um, and I don't know. The quality is obviously not as good, I don't think, as the Air 2, but I think it's worth the sacrifice given that wedding couples are looking at their venue, they're not looking at, is
Yeah.
it, the dynamic range and things like that. So it is worth it for the just I don't know a bit more freedom than having a bigger than 250 gram drone.
Well,
How
if
about you
Hmm.
guys?
are
Sorry,
patient,
Brandon.
I think if you wait a little bit longer, you might not have to sacrifice quality much longer, but we'll
Well,
see.
rumors,
Yes,
Rumors are true.
rumors. Yeah.
yeah, I've been watching a couple of videos on the old Mini 3. If it's right,
Yeah.
then you know, oh, I'll be picking up one straight away. Honestly, yeah. I
Here's
think
this is actually a question that I was going to ask you next. How are the regulations over in the UK from our man David Manning? What's up, man? Thanks for joining us. If you guys haven't
David
checked
Manning.
out, we had him on as a guest one of our first weeks, so you guys got to check that back out again. But
Yeah, I saw
yeah,
that video. I was trying to channel him when I was doing my little bag review video today, just with a table in front of me, trying to do a little setup. But
That's
yeah,
why I
because I
bought
didn't
this.
script it, it ended up being like 30 minutes. Yeah, exactly.
but
It's
yeah,
like
what are
because I
the
watched this.
regulations like over
Yeah,
there? You said you have to renew your license once a year. Now over here in the States, we have to have you don't have a license to fly. You just need to register your drone for $5, and you can fly
okay,
whatever size drone you want. Well, I shouldn't say whatever size drone you want, but up to 55 pounds.
right, helicopter.
Your normal consumer drone,
Yeah,
but um, you you just can't do it for money. So,
okay,
however, a lot of those regulations and restricted areas, that's when the minis come in hand when it's like it's flying a toy. But
Yeah.
what is it like over there in the UK?
so when I had the license, it was called a permission for commercial operations. So pretty much the same thing. You could fly not commercially as long as you had insurance, I believe. But then you had to do this permission for commercial operations, which is basically like a course. You do the course, and we were learning all kinds of things from the aerodynamics of passenger jets, and I really don't know why we were learning this stuff for this course, but and then you do a practical test, which funny enough, the drone they gave me was a Phantom 4 for the practical test, and we basically like flew it off, and they were like, now return it to home. So I pressed the return to home button, and it went. It just flew off, and I was
Wait,
like,
so
oh
on the
no.
test they wanted you to fly it home, and you just hit the return to home button?
Yeah, that's all you do. That's literally just
Oh,
to
so that's
prove
what they
that
wanted you to do.
yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty much what they
Oh, I
want you to
thought like
do.
they meant you to like manually come back, and you're
No,
just
no,
like,
no. But the return
oh my
home button
gosh.
didn't work. It started flying off, and I was like, oh no, I'm not losing
Hmm.
it, sort of thing. Luckily, they just identified they did a firmware update that morning or something, and it
Okay.
bricked it or whatever. But they've changed the rules now, so it's not a permission for commercial operations anymore. It's I don't know, it's something else,
But
A2 or something.
Wow.
but the weight restriction, is it still the 249 grams or whatever? Is grams
Yeah,
a thing
so
over in the UK? I don't.
it's grams, yeah.
Okay.
So so under 250 grams, yeah, you got a lot less restrictions on it. I guess with over 250, there's certain
Yeah.
limitations on how far you can go from buildings and people that are not under your control. Whereas with the smaller drones, someone's gonna have a go at me for this, but it's a bit more lenient. It's a bit more like, you can fly over people as long as you're not directly over them, as long as you're
Hmm.
sort of, I think it's like it sort of goes in a slope, so you
Well,
can,
I know
you know,
they kind of regulate it here as like it's kind of a toy at that point, with the exception of you still can't go near airports and things like that, because that's
yeah,
always, no matter, you can't even have like a kid's actual toy drone like in an airport area. But
yeah, that's the same. That's the same here. They pretty
yeah,
much say it's a toy, which is nice because they regulate it like that. We still have to, what am I saying? Get insurance. Still have to get
yeah,
insurance and all that
exactly.
stuff.
Ask
I
for
have like a
forgiveness.
daily insurance which I get for. Yeah,
So
David,
like,
you're definitely right. There's a lot of places in the UK which are like, I don't know, national parks and things like that, and they don't necessarily allow drones. But if
yeah.
you're in the middle of nowhere, so just get out
Yeah, I
while you
mean,
can because you regret not getting a shot, right?
Some of
Canada,
the problems
they
though
like
with,
make you have like a landing pad and everything like that, and you have
yeah,
to like, I don't know,
call it, yeah.
they're strict on low
Some of the
key.
things about those like light drones though is that they are a little more complicated to fly in certain things like wind, and
Yeah,
they have a smaller battery, even though those newer ones are getting better. I heard like there's some kind of rumors about possibly the new one might, if there's a new one, it could be like a dual battery, and like one could be heavier and one could be lighter. But
That'd be
yeah,
like
awesome.
every year
did
they
hear
put
that
out
as
a new
well.
one, it gets higher and higher for like flight times and things like that. So I'm still used
I
to like
think
my Mavic Air, which what's like 14 minutes tops, and it takes you 3 to get it up in the air and like positioned, and then you're like,
it starts
now I
beeping
got
at you
about
after like
6
five
minutes left
minutes.
to go
Right.
before it tells me I
Yeah.
got to come home.
20%
And
battery life left. Oh dang.
yeah, so like I bring it with, and like I haven't done drone footage on my channel for a while because it's same thing. Like I don't want to have to get like nicked by the FAA because I'm commercially using it for monetized videos. But
Yeah.
like when I went to like Mexico, I was just like, I don't care. There's no like hardly no laws. I don't think there's really any drone laws in Mexico. Probably should learn about that first. But also I'm like, if I'm using the videos in America and I'm showing it in Mexico, like does that, I don't think that matters. Like I don't think
No,
that regulation of I could
they
do
can't
that right
regulate
now and
you while you're out of
monetize.
the
So
country.
yeah.
But
So
Yeah.
so I mean, yeah, I mean, I got my drone license here. Had to pay. Well, originally, if I would have paid when I was looking to take the test, it would have been $150. But by the time I actually took the test, they raised the price to 175. However, now you used to have to renew every uh, 3 years. I think you take the test, like the full
Okay, that's not too
test,
bad.
and now you just got to renew online. So and it's like an online thing, and it's real easy, and
That sounds a lot simpler, to be
it's not
honest.
nearly as hard as the original test was. Well, we don't have to like take a drone out and take it off. It's just literally you go into a testing facility, take the big paper test where you gotta know everything about how airplanes take off into the wind, and how to hear something on the radio and be able to know where the airplane is on the map, on the sectional chart, all that crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love drone shots, but it is just so complex sometimes trying to figure out the rules around it and everything. I
Mhm.
remember I did a wedding in Portugal, and I took the drone out there and sort of packed it in my normal suitcase and everything, and I was like, I'm going to fly this no matter what at this wedding because this is my only opportunity to do this. And as we got it up on the beach, and I was pretty drunk by this point as well because I was a guest at this wedding. As we got up on the beach, turns out there was the planes that use the beach. They sort of they take off around there.
Hmm.
So I'm there flying this drone, and there's a plane like going. It's not. I wasn't
Jeez.
anywhere near it, of course, but I
Yeah.
was like, wow, this is a little bit too close to comfort. And it turns out the photographer was a police officer there as well, but he was fine with it.
Yeah, drones are fun, but like I said, they're a hassle. So a lot of people don't fly them these days. So
Yeah.
you briefly got into it there. You shoot weddings, and tell us about what you kind of do for your 9 to 5 or
Yeah,
9 to
so I'm
12. Or,
I basically go as a full-time wedding videographer. Like that's that's how that's what I say to my friends and whatever. So I got into videography thinking I was going to do corporate stuff, but I ended up not enjoying most of that. Sometimes I enjoy it, but a lot of it, I don't know. You end up creating something that's not what you would like to have as your end product. So with the weddings, I did one wedding for free for someone, as like everyone does.
right.
And then you sort of realize, it's quite good. And then you put it online and people start approaching you and then built it up from there. I really didn't want to do it full time. I was using it as a method to go full time. And I was like, once I go full time and quit my job, then I'll
What'd you
start
do full
teaching the
time
weddings.
before you quit your job?
I worked at a department store. So that's my only job that I've ever had until
What
COVID
store?
it's called Debenhams.
Oh, okay.
It's closed now because of COVID, unfortunately. But
Hmm.
yeah, so that was my job from when I was like 17, I think. So I worked at a department store, and then I went to uni, and basically while I was at university, I worked at a department store. And then yeah, just basically they were really nice to me when I left, and they let me cut down to 4 days, then 3 days, and it went a bit like that. So yeah, then when finally quit my job, I was just trying to make some money, just do as many weddings as possible, and before you know it, I'm relatively well known in my area, so there's
Hmm.
no point in stopping now because it's going really well. I won a couple of awards and stuff, so yeah.
When we had our wedding, like we went and found a place that was going to do video for us, like that did a lot of typical wedding style videos. They're probably a little cookie cutter company, and we kind of pitched them our idea, and they're like, we might have a guy that would be really good at doing something like that. And they sent us to this guy who was part of their team, who literally I knew, who shot like music videos for my friends' bands. And so we told him we wanted to make basically like a Wes Anderson film, wedding.
That's cool.
And he was like, "Thank you so much for letting me do something different than just the typical like get this shot, get this shot, get this shot." He goes, "Say no more. I know exactly what you guys want." And he's like, "We need to find everywhere symmetrical. So I'm gonna go up there like 2 days ahead of time. We're gonna go like find everything in the area so we have a game plan ready to go." And
Wow.
so
That's the
yeah, we
thing in
did
this
like
industry. You do so many of the same things that when someone approaches you and asks something different, you're like buzzing to do it.
mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like he was telling me, he's like, I just got like a cool color rendering that's all Wes Anderson-y, and like I told him all the color palettes, and he's like, this is gonna be a fun video. And he's like, so he made one with the music we wanted him to make that were all like very copyright music, and then he recut it with like whatever royalty free stuff to give to the company to give to
Yeah.
us. So he gave us the original one like that we wanted, and then he gave the company that, and I'm like, I don't even know if I've watched the other one because
No.
it was just like
I
I
need to
don't
see
care about
yours.
like.
I never seen it.
Well, ours has like the Beatles in it. It has like all the songs from like Wes Anderson movies, and
So was it worth it?
so like
Are you glad you got it done that way?
Oh yeah, we have it on the internet, and it's got like 2 copyright claims on it, but whatever. I just unlisted it. So, but yeah, we went very heavy with that vibe, with that Wes Anderson vibe, and it was fun. So yeah, I mean, it's like a wedding, doing something like that profession. I know, like when we tried to go do some free wedding stuff for a couple friends too. It's like the typical things that progress in a wedding, and like the shots you need to have and the shots you can't miss, and like.
Yeah.
So you end up kind of putting it together as like kind of I wouldn't say cookie cutter, because that's demeaning to everyone that does wedding photography, but
No, I get what you mean.
you
You
have
get
like your
into a
typical
routine.
storyline. So
Yeah, there are a lot of people say they couldn't do it because of the pressure or whatever, but that sort of goes after a while because you get into a routine and you know where you're
yeah,
going and you do the similar venues. I mean, around here it's just a sort of cluster of venues, and I try and go as far away as possible because I like doing different things. But you end up getting into a routine and you can just turn up, do your thing without really even thinking about it,
hmm
which is partly a good thing, but partly the reason why I started YouTube because you end up doing the same thing over and over, and
well, now you're on
you
YouTube
sort of
doing the
lose.
same thing.
Yeah, exactly. You
So
sort of lose track of what you, as I got into video for in the first place, to create things. But yeah,
How did you do through COVID with your business?
it was disaster. It really was. So
is that the reason the YouTube channel kind of started again, or because of?
yeah, I can't remember whether I was consistent. I've never been consistent, let's be honest. But um, but yeah, it was sort of when March 2020 hit. Excuse me. Um, we were planning our own wedding as well, so
Mhm.
that was supposed to be in June 2020, and then and also in March I was supposed to go in Vegas for my stag do. Um, so that all got cancelled, and then everyone like rescheduled their weddings to the next year.
Mhm.
I had zero income in 2020, except I did some really like cheap like 20-person weddings where I turn up for a few hours and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Um, so so yeah, that kind of happened, and then I ended up getting a job in last year in January at a university, just doing like video production for their education side of things. So like biology practicals and stuff like that. Again, it was a bit different for me. It was quite nice to have like a secure job, I guess, at that point because I'd
Mhm.
been for a year of like not knowing what I'm going to do myself.
Yeah.
Um, I think the worst bit was like it was the moral dilemma. It's just couples are contacting you like, can we reschedule our day? And sometimes it's like the fourth or fifth time, and you're like rescheduling it for free, and then you're like, oh, do you know, So we end up, having a COVID policy as much as we could that was a bit um, just to stop people from rescheduling so much because you take a date and then someone else wants that date, and then it's a whole thing.
Yeah. And
But I
it's
don't
just
know
a
how it
whole
was
havoc
there, but
on everything.
yeah, I don't know how it was there, but they put like our government or standards agency put out a notice saying that suppliers shouldn't be keeping deposits, and we should refund all of our deposits. And
Hmm.
like everybody kicked off because it was like, how are we supposed to do that? We've got no income
Wow.
coming in. Where's this coming from? So yeah, that
Yeah,
was a bit of a
we definitely weren't like that here. We're in the half don't believe it, half do kind of thing here, and
Right.
pretty
yeah,
much they shut down like weddings and stuff. Like if people had a wedding and they got caught, and like, because usually people got caught because someone got COVID, went somewhere else, and then they found out they went to a wedding with like 30 people, and like it was kind of a big deal in a lot of states where they kind of like nixed weddings altogether with big crowds and stuff. So
Except for Florida.
yeah.
except for Florida,
There's always one.
yeah. Well, there's a couple
Yeah, no,
Florida
that's the
ones.
same. They completely got rid of Wellens, but yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, opportunity to do other stuff.
Yep.
It's quite hard to do other stuff when you're in that mental state, but it was
Right.
it was
Yeah.
quite a claustrophobic time where you don't really know what's happening. So, but the YouTube channel, yeah, I did try and like focus on that during that time.
Hey,
What's up, Paul?
where's Bert?
I kind of lost him in Vegas. I don't know what happened, Paul. We went to that aperture party, and I haven't seen him since. That was 4 days ago.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like we need to find somebody else or something. This guy is like not reliable at all. I
He's
mean,
kind of a drunk. What
we
was it, a
pay him
couple
good
weeks
money.
ago? He was, yeah. We had to pay out for that hotel that he trashed.
He's my
So
kind of guy.
yeah,
I need to party with this guy.
Burt McElroy. He's a strange one. You know, he's got a twin brother, Paul.
He does.
Yeah, his Jack.
I mean, maybe he's cheaper.
Jack McElroy. I don't know. Maybe we could just have him come in at some point. Maybe we should have him do the new show, the new segment.
New
So,
segment.
but yeah, he's a piece of work, man. He's always drunk. He's always on vacation or holidays. You guys say. So I don't know. He's probably still down in Vegas. Like, he probably went into some like red light district area and just hasn't came
I
back
mean,
out. Who
he
knows?
never went. He supposedly went to NAB, but nobody saw him
I
there.
don't know. I don't know why we brought him with in the first place. I thought we were going to go have him interview people at NAB, but he disappeared on me. So kind of my fault maybe, but I had better things to do. So, but yeah,
That's a really good shout. Bert should have been interviewing people.
he was at NAB for like a minute walking around, but it happens, Probably that wireless go broke on him or something. So
I mean, he said everybody was asking for him, but no.
yeah, he's a high demand character, man. But so Chris, I saw you had a video on your brand new Mac Studio.
Yes.
Is that actually like you?
That I bought and returned.
Oh, you bought it and returned?
Yeah, I literally basically cheekily bought it to review it and then returned it. I do have an intention of actually buying it again, to be honest, but I might upgrade it. But basically, I've got a custom PC set up, right? And because I used to game on it before I got the Xbox Series X or whatever it is now. So I used to game on it, edit on it, do all the things on it, and then I got the MacBook 16-inch, the M1 Max, and I haven't touched the PC since, even though
High roller.
Well, the thing is, like, when we do weddings, like my other half also, my wife, she edits as well, so we need two machines that can edit pretty well, and yeah, we need a laptop as well for editing on the go and things like that. So
I'm in the market of buying. I know, Paul, you just picked one up, or
I just bought a 14-inch. I just got the base model 14-inch with an upgraded hard drive, so I have a little bit more space. But I wanted a 2 terabyte hard drive, and I just didn't want to pay another ungodly like $400 for an extra terabyte. It's ridiculous.
Especially when you can get these like Samsung T7s for like $100 or something. They're just
exactly.
I mean, they're so small, and especially if you have the studio, because that you can just keep on the thing. But I was going to say, like, so Paul, I'm going to be purchasing one hopefully soon too, because my computer just sucks right now for that A7S3. But I'm kind of
will change your workflow, honestly.
Oh, I know. Like, I am clearly. This is a nice computer. It's very, very, very decked out for a 2016 iMac, but it hates 10-bit 120. So I S&Q everything. And the problem I have with S&Qing everything is what, Paul?
Oh, I was saying same thing with mine. Mine's like mine's newer than yours. Mine's a 2019.
2019, yeah.
And I have a Vega 20 in it, the graphics card. And Chris saw the video. My latest video, I did like this little like B-roll segment of this like RGB light, and just editing that footage, like some of it jumped around. Like I couldn't actually see what the final product was going to look like, because it was, even with it being we did S&Q 10-bit 422, and it was just if you put, I mean, they're too jumpy. So I'm really looking forward to getting like the M1
you guys
Pro
on Premiere Pro.
What?
Are you guys on Premiere Pro?
We're both Final Cut Pro.
I both Final Cut. Okay. Yeah, that again. Like,
I like my computer staying turned on usually, so that's why I don't use Premiere.
I've been Premiere since the start, but yeah, I'm trying to edge my way out. It's like a drug. It's like you keep going back to it.
Well, I mean, it's what you know. I mean, it's what you started on. I mean, I like for audio, I use Reaper, which everyone laughs at, but it's just like, I mean, it's not Pro Tools. I think it's got way more advantages in some cases. It's not able to. Same thing. I'm used to it. It's what I'm good at, so it's what I use. But So
Yeah,
I'm
the
in
thing
that
is,
spot though
like,
right now where I'm
speed,
looking
isn't
at
it?
like, what's that?
It's speed, isn't it? Like if you know something, you can do it quickly. If you
Yep.
see us in Premiere Pro and like all of this, and as soon as I go to Resolve, I'm like an old man, just trying to figure out
Yeah,
what
yeah.
buttons to press.
Well, it's stupid things too. Like in Pro Tools, if you want to like highlight a few tracks to do something or move them or minimize the audio, you would think like right click, drag over the things, and it would highlight. It doesn't do that in Pro Tools. It does that in like every other editor but Pro Tools. So it's like you start doing that, you're like, come on, do I have to really hit control on every one of these and click them? And it's like, what a waste of time. Like usually I'm just trying to grab it and drag it away. But it's what you know. But as far as the computers
Yeah,
though, like I'm in that spot where I'm like, if I had a MacBook with me this weekend, I would have already had probably 2 videos edited when I was in Vegas.
yeah.
But for the same price, I can also have a studio, and both of them, I'm gonna buy a new monitor because I'm not gonna go off of a little. I'm not gonna sit there and look like this the whole time when I'm typing, and I like
Would you
looking
take your
straight into a
studio with you?
screen.
You could take your studio with you to the hotel room. A
That
little
sounds
monitor.
awful.
Get a portable monitor.
Someone, what's his name, did a video on that, like a joke, like put his studio in a backpack and like a monitor and started packing his stuff, and he just had this like
I mean,
camping gear.
MKBHD took
Yeah,
his iMac, didn't he? He used to take his
yeah.
iMac Pro or whatever it was.
But yeah,
Uh,
I'm still like, if I get the one, it's not the studio is the M1 Max, which is awesome for the same price.
yeah,
But I'm like
yeah.
14-inch. I'd rather get the 16, but will that fit in backpacks? Like I have to like measure my backpack to see if that would even work. Because like I don't want to have to, I don't want to have to buy something and then find out I have to buy another thing to make it work. Like
Yeah,
just
it's
take,
quite a chunky machine. The
I
16
mean
inch is
the
quite a big
computer
one.
is literally what is that scenario from the A7S III. Like I had
Just
the
take your
A7S III
backpack
and
to
I
the
find
Mac
out
store.
now I need a new computer. So that A7S III is not a $3,000 camera anymore. It's now a
Yeah, new
$5,000
SD
camera.
cards, new
Yeah.
computer to play back
Oh,
the
the
footage. Yeah,
SSDs. Yeah. So it's just like every time you upgrade, you gotta realize that it's gonna be your whole workflow, all your stuff. And so yeah, I got some videos to watch the next few days before I decide because I'm ready to pick that thing up and be done with this.
but if they're really good, yeah, honestly, just especially if you're on Final Cut. I mean, I don't use Final Cut,
Yeah.
but I imagine it's even better if I'm editing smoothly in Premiere Pro, which, well, you know what that's like. Then
Mhm. It
then you'll
sounds
be
like
fine on Final
some of the problems have been resolving a little bit. Resolve. See what I did there, Paul?
Cut.
They've
Yep,
been
I'm
kind of
moving over to
resolving.
Resolve.
They've been getting better. I know that a lot of people said that they were trying to learn Final Cut, then they were like, "Well, now it's working good, so I can go back."
I
Like
don't
I know
get any
Dave.
crashes, to be fair. It doesn't crash,
Good.
but I'm having issues with the differences between Premiere Pro 2021 and 2022. Because in
Okay.
2021, for some reason, it's a lot smoother. The battery life is a lot better. The fans don't, spin up on the MacBook. But as soon as you go to Premiere 22, obviously you've got some of the new features like
Yeah.
the track remixing and things like that I quite enjoy doing. But the playback is worse, and for some reason it makes my Mac fan spin up massively.
I hear you on that because like my Final Cut right now is the old version.
Yeah,
I like refuse to upgrade because there's some
you
stuff
just don't
that
know
they
what you're gonna get.
did that are like beyond annoying. Like they changed, like even just something stupid like the blade tool on my setting. If I could put blade on there, where the mouse lands on the thing is where it blades. But on the new update, it's like it's to the left of the mouse, so you
Oh
have to
no.
like figure it out. And it's just there's some cool stuff like tracking that I'm not taking advantage of, but like I'm keeping the one I have for as long as I can. So, although if I
Yeah,
get that new computer, it's going to automatically update, I'm sure. So,
is it quite hard to roll back with Final Cut?
you could probably, I'm sure it's on their website. You can probably
Yeah.
find feature or like previous ones. So,
What external monitor do you use, Chris?
It's just an LG 30. I don't even know what it is. It's a 32-inch. I bought it because it had 144 hertz because I was gaming on it at the time. I was playing like Warzone and stuff. But it is in no way color accurate, I don't think. So I
okay.
probably need to sort that out because I'm using it with the MacBook Pro, and then I'm, switching the windows between, and I'm like, these colors are nothing like. So which one should I go off, sort of thing?
Huh.
I would go off the Mac computer for sure, the MacBook.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what someone told me too, that when I was asking about monitors this week, they said, well, if you have a MacBook, you can always like use that to like see your grade. If you need to like finalize something, you can get it close with the other one.
Yeah,
Or
the
you can
screens
spend
on this
like
thing are amazing.
$500 more and just get something that's more color accurate. So
But you
I have
end
a
up getting
question
caught
for
out
you,
by the.
Kyle.
go ahead, Paul.
Oh, just saying, there's a question for you, Mr. ZVE10 guy. Sigma Primes or the Tamron 11 to 20? Is 11 to 20 worth it over the Sigma Primes?
Isn't it 11 to 18 or is it 11 to 20?
No, it's 11 to 20.
Okay, I know it's not 10.
It's yeah, it's almost like the Sony competitor, but they didn't want to make the same exact
Yeah.
thing. So,
Well, that to me that's an easy answer. If you want anything below a 16 millimeter on a crop body, 100% it's worth it because I never gave that. I gave that 10 to 18 Sony lens. I always said it's overpriced. It's not worth it. It's an f4. Popped that thing on for the first time, and you're just like, oh, I wish I would have bought this years ago. Like it's so wide, and like you're
I
not
love
used
that
to
you can
seeing
use that
wide.
10 to 18 on full frame as well. Like
You
that people were
can,
doing.
and yeah, I should have made a video when I had a chance. Like you can, if you have a A7 III, it'll just crop automatically, so it'll still be like a 15. But when I first got that with the ZVE10, I just like jokingly threw it on my camera and I was like, it's just like a fisheye. You see the black frame like crazy, but then you just put it to like 11 or 12, and it was like that went away. Especially if you have to have active stabilization on. But I was just kind of like, holy crap, this thing is wide and it's super like it can get really bendy on the
You
sides.
start
But
moving it, it warps
yeah,
around
if
the
you go to
side.
the if you go up to the top, your hat just gets like this weird, like wide, super wide.
3D effect.
But yeah, you can literally hold the camera like this, and it looks like you're holding it like way out because it's the equivalent. I mean, it's like an 11 or 12 millimeter at that point. So
yeah, and for me, I personally like wider. I like to have a really wide lens, and then then I would want like the zoom, the really high end zooms, like 70 to 80 or 70 to 200 or whatever, because I feel like I can always walk close enough to get a similar look. And if like it would be, I would have like if I had a zoom, I want to have like a wide zoom and then the 70 to 200 or somewhere around equivalent to that, and then for anything in between I'd probably get a prime. I'd like
yeah,
the Sony 85 prime is probably like gold. I still don't have it yet, but one day maybe.
you got
And
to have that for weddings, I would imagine, right? 85.
I do have an 85, but I barely use it. So I bought one, sold it, and I bought one
Hmm.
again, and I'm just about to sell it again because I got,
Hmm.
yeah, I just,
I
it's just
suppose
sits
if
in
you're
my
running
bag.
like weddings, you're probably just like constantly zooming in and like
Well, the
not staying on
55
one focal.
is my go-to for weddings.
Is
So
it okay?
I run 24 and 55 normally.
Okay.
On
I love
the
this is the
X-Men.
24. I love the 24, man.
Yeah, I do like the 24. Yeah, sometimes a little bit wide for me. But I have the 17 to 28 just for like the establishing shots. But I literally just use it for that. And sometimes I'm like, do I really switch over, or could I just use 24? Could I get away with it? But just the wider the establishing shot is, just the more epic it looks. I think so. How are
I
you finding
definitely
the ZV-E10? Because I've seen some questionable footage from it from other on
it's
other
I mean
videos and stuff.
it's all how I feel like all of those cameras is how you use it.
Yeah,
So like the ZV-10 sensor and mechanics and brain and stuff, it's all the same as an A6400, A6500, almost the same as a 6600 because that has better focus and in-body stabilization and all that stuff. But I got used to the A6400 with no stabilization whatsoever. So like you just get used to it and you don't whip a camera around if or you're gonna get jelly. I mean, it's same with the A7 III. Like that camera was equally as bad with like
it wasn't
um
great with the
Rolling
normal
yeah,
shutter.
stabilization.
rolling shutter. Yeah, it's
Oh, right, shut. Yeah.
so like you just get used to like not being an idiot with a camera when you're doing that. But I think the ZV-10 people immediately we're like, oh, active. We're gonna put the stabilization on, but it's a 40% crop. Like that's a big crop. So
That's
it's
a
like they marketed a
huge.
vlog camera with active stabilization, but the active stabilization makes it not a vlog camera anymore unless you're using like a 10. And
I
then
think
it looks
Sony have a
good,
habit of
but
that, right? Because the ZV-1 is pretty much the same. I mean, it's not a
it's a
four ton.
24 millimeter. They say it's a 24 millimeter equivalent. I feel like it's a tiny bit closer than that, but
Yeah, and then
It's
you put active
doable.
on, and
The
yeah,
thing with that is it's so light, you can just like put it on like a long like selfie stick and it looks fine. I'm used to
yeah.
it, but
I literally got it 2 days ago, and I already love it. I'm taking it to my holiday to New York and everything. So yeah, I think it's great.
yeah. Try screw around with the settings, but like honestly, like the one if you really want to have like the best footage ever, stick with your manual settings, change your eyes. It's not as easy
Yeah,
to change the aperture because you always have to like go down, go
go
right, go
into
down
the
again.
yeah,
But like I when we went to Mexico, I put mine in intelligent mode. I loved that setting. Like it did everything for you the
yeah. I
way
saw
you
that.
think you should versus like program auto. It does some weird stuff and it like will expose the crap out of the background. But intelligent auto, if it has the face tracking, it does face exposure instead. So
Yeah,
it does some really wild stuff. Plus it does it'll like lock to two faces, which is weird. Even if you start like walking away from each other. I don't know how it does that. We did a tester. I stayed in front of the camera. My wife like walked backwards and you'd see the box on her face. And I'm like, she looks pretty in focus still. And you
is it
can
changing
like
the aperture as people
it
walk back?
does. It does that,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
But it
that's
still
impressive.
keeps the depth of field look because like there's something weird going on there. Like behind her, the background kind of still looks the same. So I
Yeah,
don't know what it's doing in that camera. But also like if you go into the shadows and stuff, it just like pretty quickly adjusts in a good way. So and I know like some people go aperture priority and stuff on that camera, but
You gotta check
we're
out Terry Warfield's video too. His one of his most recent ones. He has like those Ulanzi
with the
wide
magnet.
angle, and he
yeah.
Yeah,
magnetizes. It's
I'm
brilliant.
definitely looking at getting into that because that is cool. What I'd want to see for the next EV2 or whatever is actual Sony version of the Ulanzi thing. Surely they're thinking right, this is a good money opportunity. Like if
Well,
Sony come out with a wide angle,
they had one for some kind of I mean there is like an ultra wide angle like adapter thing from one of their old line cameras. I just don't know if it works. So the Ulanzi's nice though because it doesn't distort. It just looks normal.
Right.
And
yeah,
it's not like a big difference. It goes to like an 18 millimeter equivalent. But
yeah.
when
The
I was
problem
at
with the
NAB though, like I was walking around with my Sigma 2470 at NAB. And at first I put the 20 on. I was like, oh, this is exactly what I want. It looks good. It's very vloggable. And then you start looking at stuff. You're like, oh, I want to zoom. Like you're like, I hate having a camera that only is one thing with primes. That's the thing that sucks about primes.
yeah.
Is the second you have it on, you want a different lens on there. And that's
Yeah,
probably
they
why in
always look
weddings
so good
you
when that is the
yeah.
case. Yeah, I mean, when I had the when I was running two A7 threes, I had the 24 mil on one and the 50 mil on another, and obviously you could do crop mode and you could film full frame or film crop mode. So I
Hmm.
basically had in two cameras, 24, 35, 50, and I don't know what it was, like 75-ish or whatever,
Yeah.
all in two cameras. Amazing. But now it's like I've got an A7S, can't really do crop mode. I
Yep.
don't really like camera image zoom because you can't track focus.
Yep.
And then I've got an A7 IV, which you can only do crop mode if you want
Yeah.
the 4K stay mode. So yeah, the A7 III was the perfect camera for primes, I think, because
Hmm.
you could have two focal lengths there.
Well,
But
someone did say like too, like once you go into crop mode on those cameras too, it's not really much different than just like using the 1080 at that point with like with the auto like super 35 crop because it on the A7S III that 1080 still looks really good. I don't know if
yeah,
you've actually used it a lot, but like
I've
Yeah.
not used it at all, but I've seen it.
yeah, it almost looks like 4K. It's so sharp still. So, but
Yeah, I think it's sharper than the A7 III
yeah,
1080, isn't it?
yep,
Yeah.
yeah. I filmed
With
a project with Paul where I forgot to put it in 4K. I do a lot of stupid things. Like I did a thing this weekend where someone was taking photos of a group of us. I was like, here, just film. Just hold my camera and film while you're taking photos because I want some video of us talking. I get the camera back and I hit play and I'm like, I was in 120 frames S and Q mode, so there's no audio, and it's this
Just your
like
mouth's moving really
20-minute
slowly.
clip because it was like a 3-minute. But there's some cool like a couple things where people do something funny and they're laughing, and it's in slow mo now. But that's the downside of it being baked in. But my computer
Yeah.
can't handle, and I don't want to proxy every single thing, and it's
No,
just
exactly.
yeah,
The first thing I did with the ZV-1 is put it on that top-down setup for my latest video, and I forgot to
yep,
put it in 4K for that. So I was shooting in 1080p 50 for that, I think, which is it
okay.
actually looked quite good on my computer. But when I put it on YouTube, it kind of destroyed it a little bit.
Paul Paul makes fun of me because I did my full ZVE10 my full review of the ZVE10. I started doing it, filmed like for like 3 days straight, but I forgot that we did a live stream with it, so it was in 1080 30, and like I never shoot 30. But I
Nice.
was like, God, my footage looks like garbage. Like I don't understand what's going on here, and then I was like, I looked at the timeline and I was like, because when you drag in the first clip, it sets your timeline to that.
Changes timeline.
And I looked up, I was like, oh no. I was like, no, come on. And I also shot like a video. I shot the review, but I also shot all the lenses that I recommended for the camera in 1080 as well.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I just screwed like 2 videos up because of the stupid thing.
I hate
So
when it
I redid the review part. That video actually is somehow it's getting like 600 views a day on it for no reason.
Wow.
Like you can't buy that camera anywhere, so I don't know why it's like
No.
so viewed. I mean, it is tax time, so maybe people are prepping or something like that. I don't know.
It's worth redoing it though. Like I find that I do videos and I'm very not happy with that and just don't redo it because the motivation just goes.
Oh yeah,
I did a
for
what's in my
sure.
camera bag video, but I went out and about to do it and I just regret doing it. It's a nice sunny day. Went to this castle, but there's so many like old people walking past me with their dogs, and they'd always stop me and be like, "Oh, what are you doing? Like, this is a podcast?" It's like, "No, I'm just filming a YouTube video." And then, but yeah, I just ended up looking really uncomfortable, so I never posted it.
Yeah. It's strange. We filmed Paul doing a lens review between the Sigma and the Tamron in the middle of Disney Springs. I mean, like I love going to just random places to do videos like that because it's fun. But at Disney, everyone's there is like, "Oh, you guys are YouTubers. Can I have? What's your channel? I want to watch your Disney stuff." And you're like, "It's definitely not Disney stuff." There's gonna be some Disney in it, but yeah.
No, so you mentioned the 24-70. Which one are you using?
I got the Sigma.
The Sigma, yeah, same.
Yeah. So it's like a tank, yeah.
The new one come out today.
That new one that came out today looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's so light.
I kept seeing like certain like all these like basically at NAB there was a handful of just like really big channels showing up, and like people are carrying around their cameras, and like I know Josh Yo was holding his camera, like he had his lens over all the like the numbers and stuff, and then like Gene like Potato Jet kind of comes up and he's like he's trying to look at the lens to see if he's got it, and he goes, "It's a 16 to 35, buddy." He's like, "It's not the 24-70." So I was just like, I was kind of trying to find it too, see who's running it and who would be dumb enough to like be in public with that. So
yeah, I mean, I'm content with the Tamron. I use the Tamron 28-75, and it's like, I just the weight and everything is perfectly fine to me. And honestly, like I said, I don't use it nearly enough as I thought I might. I tend to shoot wide or just really high zoom. So and most time mainly wide. I feel like most time I probably can carry on this 24mm lens and be perfectly fine and just walk closer or walk for a little bit further away to get what I need. But obviously I have the Tamron 17-28. I got this one, the 24. Then I got the Tamron 28-75 and the Tamron 28-200. So
the Tamron lenses are just they're perfect for running on a gimbal. Like the 28-75 is great, but I found that when I moved to the A7S, I started using active stabilization. Obviously, it's not 28 anymore, so you're even more zoomed in than you probably would have been. So that's why I got the Sigma in the end. It's only a few millimeters wider, but it makes a difference when you just want a quick run and gun 24-70 and you use an active stabilization. But
so you use a Sigma 24-70?
Yeah, it just about balances on the Weeble S. Just about. I can get mine to balance on the Weeble S. I don't know what I'm doing differently. I've done it, I guess, a couple times, but it has a little trouble when you're running like an ND filter on the front of it. It does definitely want to dip, but those motors are also pretty strong where if it doesn't balance perfectly, it'll still work fine. You just have to like turn the motor to high torque and stuff like that.
If I was both of you guys, that new 24-70 would be tempting, but gosh almighty, the price tag of that thing.
Yeah.
How much is it, Paul? I was kidding. We'll save that for a different game. No, it's I was halfway expecting to see that thing this weekend. I really was, but no one's dumb enough to show up at a huge convention center with a prototype.
Well, now they need to remake the 16 to 35 and make it smaller as
Yep.
well.
It's nice to hold that though. Like I was holding on to Josh Yo's 16. That was the first time I've actually used the 16 to 35. And you're just like, oh, I can hold it like this comfortably and it looks great. Like I'm so used to the 24 where you're doing the vlog walk where you're like half leaning backwards, which always looks awful. I don't know why. Like people just need to let it be closer because that whole backwards walk stuff that people do, and their chin goes like this, and it's awful. But yeah,
Never
that
noticed that.
1635. That's if you are like in doing that kind of content or you're pointing at yourself, that thing's perfect for that. But yeah, if they
It
could
is,
make
yeah.
it,
And the Tamron is good as well. The 17 to 28 it is quite
yeah,
nice for vlogging. It doesn't like really hurt your arms or anything like that as much. I guess the 16 to 35 is a bit heavier.
the 16 is it felt noticeably wider though. Like because Paul and I we
Yeah.
did a test between the like my 20 Sony and the 17 to 28, and for whatever reason those looked really similar. The 17 was just a
Okay.
little bit wider, but I thought because when I was even doing reviews, I was like, that's weird that the 17 doesn't look as. And I think someone said it's
Yeah.
the 20 is actually looks wider than it is. It looks more
Okay.
like a 19 or an 18 or something. So that's probably why it is. It's not the Tamron not being wide. So
Gets a lot of
but
good reviews that 20 millimeter.
it's a nice little lens. Plus it's a
Um,
1.8.
do you shoot a lot of real estate?
No, I don't at
No.
all. No, I would. I don't know. I would kind of like to do it, but I've never really got into it to be honest. But yeah, I imagine you'd need. I think I'd go wider. In fact, over COVID, I was shooting a lot of like photography for just pubs and restaurants and general things like that. And I bought the 12 to 24 f4, I think it was, and that was
You bought
super
the
wide.
12 to 24 f4?
Yeah, f4. It wasn't. It's quite
Yeah, I
quite
mean,
a good lens.
yeah, it's that big Sony lens.
Yeah, but it's not the 2.8. The 2.8 one's expensive, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
funny thing is with a wide angle like that, like why anyone would want a two like you're going to be minimum
Yeah, I know. I know.
F4, F5 on a like you're going into real estate, you're probably shooting at like an F10 or higher. Like,
Why are you needing 2.8 for
yeah,
it? It's such a niche
you
lens.
want everything in focus when it's like when you have a wide lens like that. So,
But yeah, they just like seeing the wide, like as wide as possible. So
mhm.
yeah, I bought that 12 to 24 just to do those kind of shoots and just the
You still own
interior
it?
of like restaurants. No, because I literally used it for one thing. And when I stopped doing those sort of photography jobs, it sort of became pointless. Like for
Yeah.
weddings, it's a bit too much. I was putting on that whole lens just for one shot, and it was a bit too wide. It made ceremony rooms look really small in the middle.
Well, Chris,
Well, I think
you know what time it
well,
is, right?
What time
Yeah.
is it?
It's
A camera.
yeah. So tell us
Love it.
your embarrassing camera story. Go ahead for it.
All right. So when I was at university, we had access to like loads of equipment, so we could literally go to this hatch and ask this guy and be like, "Can I get this audio equipment, this camera equipment?" They literally give you anything. I think it was like C100s and things, random things like that. And so for the whole of uni, I had it really cushy. Just every time I had a job for a business or whatever, I would just go and get some equipment out from university. But the only thing I owned was a Canon 550D and a 50mm. I believe that was cropped sensor as well. And I at the time I really didn't know what crop sensor meant or did. And I wasn't really that clued up on that sort of thing. I knew how to film, but I didn't really know. So I started working for this big company called Saint Gobain. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's spelled Saint Gobain, but and then after university, they continued to hire me. But obviously, I lost access to all of that nice equipment. So they said, "Oh, can you come to London and do this job for us?" So I said, "Yeah, that's all good." Took my little 550D. I didn't have a lapel microphone at the time. I had an on camera, like just a Rode video mic, and turned up, and it was the CEO of this company was doing a message to all of his employees. And it like we're talking like he'd flown over from America to London to do this. I don't know where, but to London to do this. And it was little old me with a Canon 550D and a 50mm, and they wanted to do it in front of this sign, but there wasn't enough room for me to back up. So I literally framed it, and it was literally just like his head in the middle of the frame. And then they were like, "Can you get the audio better?" And I was like, "No, what I've got is this microphone on top." And it was so embarrassing, because before I had all of this stuff that I'd just taken from the uni and used, and now I was there with. Not saying you can't make something good of that, right? But I had no lighting, I had no lapel mic. It was an echoey big room. They didn't
And you're
have,
far away from them clearly at that point too, so you can't like
yeah, exactly. So what, it was like 75 mil I'm shooting, and literally got the middle of his head in. And yeah, safe to say I was pretty embarrassed by that. But afterwards, they were kind of chill about it. Like they emailed saying, actually, the CEO is not very happy with what he said, so we're not going to use the video. And I was like, yes, but it paid me anyway, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, I didn't hear from him after that.
They weren't happy with what he said. Sure, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that. At least they're being nice about it. But yeah, so if there's proof that gear matters a little bit, it's that. Like, you do need the right stuff for the right job.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, tool wise for sure you need to have the right one. But yeah, content is still can be king, but if you can't capture correctly, then it's not. So
like I say, at the time I didn't really know what gear was what sort of thing. I just knew that I was filming stuff, and I was producing decent stuff for university, so the content was there. But yeah, when it came to afterwards, I was like, oh, maybe I need to actually invest in some stuff. So I bought a GH4, and that was complete regret. But
no autofocus at all. Got it.
Yeah, I know. That's pain. For us Sony users, that is pain.
It hasn't changed much.
So what, as we're closing tonight, what can we expect from your channel? What can people expect to see from your channel in the coming months or weeks or whatever?
Inconsistency. I'll maybe post twice one week, and then you won't hear from me for over 3 months. I'm still alive. I'm just not posting. I'm aiming to do some stuff on the ZV-1. I'm a bit late to the party, so I'm probably not going to do much stuff on it. And also, when that Mini 3 comes out, I'm going to invest, because you know it's going to be good. Like, it's looking like it's good. If it's got a flat profile, then I'm sold. But otherwise, I feel like it's going to be better just because of the bigger sensor and stuff.
Get that pocketbook ready. It's coming soon.
But I feel like,
I would say that ZV-1's content though, like, hit that stuff hard, because that camera is one of the only ones you can buy right now for people who are looking for beginning cameras. And I can tell you right now, my ZV-1 videos are still just killing it every day.
Yeah, those videos are banging.
So every day you wake up and you're just like, these things are getting the most views on my channel every day. So,
and his affiliate links for those accessories are just off the charts.
Yeah, you just gotta just go with it, because it's an old camera, but that doesn't make the content any less irrelevant at this point. So
I feel like
until there's a second model out, it's not going to be. Yeah, even then, if that comes out, people who are going to buy the used ones, they're going to be looking for that video. So
the ZV, yeah,
I feel like spend 700. So.
That kind of audience is the best. Like, the video that is done best on my channel is the DJI Pocket 2 guide. And when you're just like, I've got no video ideas today, I'm just going to go through the menu of a camera and film it. And I did that, and now it's my most popular video. And I'm like, I've spent a lot more time doing other videos.
Yep. That was my, when you set up your ZV-1, you can watch my video on that too. Because although none of it's all in like US specs. So like, bear with that. But I think that 24 and 25 are like the same conversion.
Yeah. What picture profile are you using? That's what I'm like.
Standard picture profile.
Okay.
I do not bother trying to color grade that. It doesn't need to be. You can try to do like HLG, which is going to help with that contrast, but it's already a pretty good shot. It's already over sharpened. It's already over contrasted.
It is. Yeah.
Dave Mays showed me what he had the other day. I don't know if it's posted somewhere, but he showed me he shot a whole wedding on a ZV-1. I couldn't believe it. Like, it did not look like a ZV-1.
Is it?
I was like, are you sure? Maybe he's just, I don't know what he showed it from, so I don't know if it's like on some wedding page or if it's on his channel.
I'd love to shoot a wedding with ZV-1, just like try it out.
Just hit him up on, like, message him on the DM him or something and just say like, hey, where's that ZV-1 wedding footage? because he's proud of it. It
100%.
looks good. It looked really good.
Well, we have him here on the show pretty soon, so we'll have to
Yeah.
ask him when he's
Yeah,
on.
stay up till 3 in the morning in a couple weeks, and we'll get it just for one question. So, but yeah, it's a he used it as his main camera for a wedding, and you watch it and you're just like, damn, dude, like this looks
And surely
really
he was
good.
a
Like,
guest or something, right? He wasn't getting
I
paid
think it
for
was his
full
friend's wedding or
up to
something,
that.
but he shot it and it looked professional as hell. So like, I've seen
Yeah, I
like
mean,
I did a thing on an RX 100 and a cell phone, and it did not look at all like that. So
the quality is there. Like, I mean, Jason Hong did one on the RX 107,
yeah.
but I mean, it looked good, but you could tell it was like grainy and stuff at points.
Mhm.
But I feel like that 1.8 would help with that.
I mean, you could go in and you can turn it to neutral on the color profile or on the creative look or whatever.
Yeah,
You know, the one where it's got like burst and vivid and stuff like that. You can change it to
yeah,
neutral there and make it look a little flatter and probably save some kind of shadows, maybe more so, or contrast that you can add yourself. But
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, that menu screen, that video I just put together because I needed to put out a video in 3 days. I was like, I don't have it. I'm just going to do the menu setup. I have like 70,000 views on that
I
video
bet
right
it's
now.
doing well. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
just like I had no idea that was going to pop off as much as it did. So you never
People
know.
want to know. They want to go through
Yeah.
the settings. And some people haven't even got it, and they're like, "Do you know what? I want to find out how to set it up before I even."
I remember wasting so much time with the A7S III, like sitting down watching this half-hour video from Donna, and you're just like,
Yeah,
okay, what's the next setting? And then at the very end, it's like, but if you guys just want to download my profile to your card, you can just save it to your computer, dump it to your card, put it in your phone. It's like, oh, come on. Like, but I mean, I guess you're learning where your buttons are doing and where they are. But it's
I
just like
spent
same
so
with Josh
long
Yo's
filming
video.
an
Yeah.
A7S3 guide, but it like corrupted or something. I don't know. Yeah, it was a dodgy SD card. So
Paul, you still running my profile, aren't you?
Nope.
Modified, probably. Okay. Yeah. Did you
I still
like
need
grab
to
someone
set
else's?
mine up again.
Okay.
what profile are you using?
Well, he like wiped us with an update. So it, like he was on his way over here and he got his camera here. He's like, my whole thing just got wiped because I just updated the
Oh
camera.
no! And all
So
the
Yeah, I
custom
keep.
buttons have
I think
gone.
I'm using like a mixture of Kyle's and something else, but I really need. I always tell myself, well, I need to go because every time I use it, I'm like, "Ah, dang it, gotta change this. Okay, dang it, gotta change this, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so I really need to go back and just
You
take
know
the
what
you
the
time
need
to
to
worst
do
thing
it.
just
is?
save it for your whatever you're doing too, because like on the A7 IV, everyone's putting like the crop button on one of the buttons and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
you can just like zoom in instantly. I'm like, that's a really good idea.
always had
Like,
that on the left on the
yeah,
D-pad is always cropped for me. It's like muscle
I
memory.
have two. Yeah,
yeah. I got like white balance and manual focus on my two buttons, and then like gamma assist on the other. I mean, I got mine set up like the way I want it, so it's definitely
Yeah,
different. But when I was handling Sydney's same camera and everything when I was filming his stuff, I'm just like, okay, let me switch something. I'm like, oh no, like, oh, these are all different. I'm trying to figure out his buttons. And I'm like, oh, dude, I can't. No, you take this camera. Give
you
me
don't
mine, and
realize
I'll
how
do.
much you
Yeah,
rely
like,
on your custom buttons, do
oh
you?
yeah, I'm sitting here screwing up his camera, like switching functions. I'm like, I'm just trying to turn manual focus on.
The
What's your
white
button
balancing
for
by
that?
accident.
He's like, oh, it's on the just use the lens. I'm like, you don't have a manual focus button on the back of your camera? Like, oh, come
Oh
on.
no!
Like
Oh no!
he's got all of his lenses has the switch on it, so I
True.
get it.
I
But
need the button just to have
oh,
it
I know,
there,
me
so I didn't
too.
have to move
I
my
go
hand around.
tap focus, manual. I just like that's my go-to is just
Yeah,
tap on
mine's
something, manual focus.
next to the record button. C2, I think it is. It's always manual auto for me.
Yeah. I was interviewing Brandon Lee at Aperture's booth yesterday, and I didn't even think about it. I'm just holding the camera, and then every time someone walks by, it like locks to their eyes.
Press it, and
So like
yeah,
all of a sudden he goes out of focus, and I'm like, shoot. And so I hit, I went to manual focus, and then he like takes a step forward, and you're like, no, 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 no. I'm in a 2.8 aperture. You're gonna be immediately out of focus if you move. And so it's
the
like,
weirdest thing is going to the ZV1 and like looking at the old menus again and being like, oh no, here we
oh,
go.
I know. It's yeah. Well, for me, I kind of miss the old ones, and sometimes the new ones a little
Yeah,
too much. So
I
there's a
have an
lot on there.
A7C and then I have my A7S3, so I'm still jumping between two different
Your
menu
phrase
systems.
go in between. Yeah,
mhm. So yeah, At some point they'll all be there, and that'll be nice things. So
Absolutely. Hey, man, thank you so much for staying up late with us here tonight.
you don't have
Um,
to work tomorrow, I hope, do you?
No, it's all good. I'm just editing
Okay.
tomorrow, so I can have a
Okay.
little bit of lie in. It's now 3:45, so I'll get a few hours. My wife
That's
will be
good.
up
sleep
in
in.
2.5 hours, maybe. So,
But
but yeah, no, it's all good. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
thanks. I know we've got to chat in the chat a little, back and forth in the comments and on Instagram a little bit, and it's just good to put actually chat in person. So
Yeah, I
thanks
think
for
it's
coming
just
out.
nice to be like just see that actual community sort of thing. Because one of the things about YouTube is obviously you have a community of people who talk to each other and
Mhm.
stuff. I always forget to comment on people's stuff. I watch loads of stuff, but I don't really. But Paul, you're like the master of that. You every time I
Paul,
see it, watch a video, I scroll down, you're there, and that's quality, and that's why you guys are doing this
it's
whole thing. But
it's scary, like how well Paul knows people too.
yeah,
Like there's I'm not gonna say which one it was, but there was one that I gave Paul the questions to on one of the episodes.
yeah,
And he didn't probably need the questions, but I knew I was gonna be very obscure with the questions. That I was like, he's gonna need to know these so he can at least like kind of look into it if he needs to. But
and
there's a
did you
lot of
research
videos
them,
where
Paul?
What's
what's
that?
that?
Did you research them? Did you cheat?
Oh, I
He
can't
he
give away.
definitely
I
he
don't know
definitely
about.
he definitely looked into one or two of the videos for sure. But like it's scary where I'm like, Paul's never gonna get this. He's never gonna get this. Like I'm like, the person who I have on is probably not gonna get this. But I'm gonna put that question there anyways because it's the funny punchline. And sure enough, Paul's like puts the phone up. You're like, come on, Paul. Like seriously,
It's a good segment.
how do you
It's like
know
YouTube
this?
Mastermind. I like it
Yeah.
My memory is terrible, but sometimes I can remember YouTube stuff.
when it comes to videos. Yeah,
Well, it's because
but
you
no, yeah,
comment on everyone. Yeah.
you guys got something going here, and I think it's cool to be a part of.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, we'll be definitely reaching out again for another 4 in the morning chat here at some point down the road. So
Maybe you should
probably by
offer
the
me a better time
time
next time.
probably the next time you put out another video, we'll
Yeah, give it a few
so,
months.
but yeah, no, that's everything I kept hearing at NAB too, is everyone's really loving this platform, the show. I love that you can watch it live, which can totally change the direction of this at any given time. A comment could come in that could just steer this thing to a
Yeah,
completely different
exactly.
route. Like tonight happened, like David Manning was jumping in asking about drone stuff, and it's
Oh man,
it's
yeah. I've been
fun.
watching all of David's content on all of like the small little GoPro accessories and whatever. Like
Mhm.
that's yeah.
GoPro guy.
I'm gonna start channeling that. Yeah, GoPro guy,
You're gonna be the gimbal guy at some point here, right?
gimbal guy. Yeah, I feel like DJ Pocket. Everyone keeps asking me stuff like that. But
I
when you
just love
sort
we
of you
get all
get
these like
comments.
really professional wedding photographer and videographers here, and they just become the gimbal guy or the GoPro guy online. Like David, I don't know if you've seen his stuff, but he's like also a really good like wedding photographer,
I haven't
videographer,
actually
and
seen it.
that's
I'm gonna have to have a look.
yeah,
I feel
he's
like with
he
the gimbal stuff, I don't even use a gimbal for that much at a wedding, but I think I'd really appreciate them. Do you know what I mean?
mhm. Chris Brockhurst put out a video the other day that's
Really
him.
cool.
He has this just stupid rig holding his gimbal and everything, and it's like a small Hollywood version of like a Steadicam. Like
Yeah,
he could just
the
stand out there like this, and the
strap
gimbal's
that
just
goes
like
around.
sitting up, and yeah,
He's like, "Yeah,
it
That's
I'm
a
gonna take a
cool
break
idea.
right now."
yeah, it's so yeah, it's funny how many people are wedding or like real estate photographer and videographers here in the YouTube
Uh,
community though, and
yeah,
that's
that'd be
probably
really
what pays
handy.
the bills. And
No, I know. I think it's just doing something different and doing what you want to
yeah,
do. Like that. I mean, obviously, sometimes you get sent stuff and you've got to make a video on it. And sometimes you're like, oh, got to make a video on this, and you end up
mhm,
thinking this is basically just work. But also sometimes, like my Snowden video that I've put out, no views, but it's one of my favorite videos that I've put out, and I would
mhm,
have nowhere to dump it if I didn't have a YouTube channel. So at the
yep,
same time, and I probably wouldn't have vlogged it if I didn't have a YouTube channel. And I'm really glad I did vlog it. So
mhm.
it's those sort of reasons that
It's
really
good stuff for you to go back and watch yourself,
little
which is
outlet.
nice too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think style wise, I'm all over the place at the moment. But like things like people like Potato Jet and things like that, that's a cool style that you go out, you test stuff. It's not sort of sat at home talking because that's all you got time to do. Like that's quite a nice like little format
Mhm.
out with your friends. You're having fun. I'm sure it's harder than it looks, but it's a cool format.
He has too much fun.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
he came into NAB and it was like because NAB is very cinema heavy, it's not really like YouTuber kind of thing. It just we show up there.
Yeah.
He's like got his fingers in both communities because he does a lot of Ari stuff. So he comes in vlogging on a GH6 with this massive cinema lens on the front, this like 21 millimeter, like 9-pound lens. And he's just sitting there running around
Just
like this.
vlog it with it.
He's just getting like like it was like a flying V following him down the it was crazy how everyone's like, oh my god, potato jet, potato jet, potato. And it was just like I just saw some YouTubers that just walked by that have like 10 million subscribers unnoticed.
Yeah.
But he walks in and it's just
Everyone's
because he's just so
gravitating towards him.
ridiculous. He's just like everyone just sees him and follows him. It's so funny. So, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's he does it. Obviously, he has a lot of work when he does that stuff. So
Yeah, of course.
it's not what it looks like all the time. But
it's making it enjoyable. It's making it so that
yeah,
you're enjoying the process of making the video. That's I think
exactly.
that's why I'm becoming consistent. I think sometimes I don't really fancy it today, or I don't really fancy setting up the office. Like, yeah,
You got to enjoy what you do. So
exactly.
Well,
yeah, thanks for coming on, staying up super late, and
No worries. I'm gonna get some sleep.
yeah, it looks like Paul's getting over there. He's getting tired now too. So.
Yeah, I see the yawning.
hey, once again, thanks, man, and go check out Chris's YouTube channel and hit the bell notification so you know when he posts his video once every 6 months. But yeah, thanks for coming out, and you guys know that we'll see you all in the future.